Today we're making a zombie killer hockey stick, a zombie killer hockey puck, and a zombie killer kung fu star. All cosplay safe and ready for your next Halloween or hockey themed party. Interested? Here we go. Here's my thoughts on the hockey puck, or hockey pucks. Originally I had those things sticking out way far out like this. Then I did a survey of my boys and they basically said, hey, you're going to hurt yourself when you throw them and you can't hit them with a hockey stick because these things are sticking out. So I'm going to have two versions of the hockey puck. One where these things go all the way around, and then a spiky version on top and bottom so that you can actually hit it with a hockey stick. How do you make these spikes? Well, I'm using the same method I did for my babysitter bat, except for I'm going to change it up a little bit. I'm going to use this micro tubing because it's a lot cheaper. You can get 50 feet of it for about $5, especially if it's off season. And you want right around 2.5 inches. So you cut off a piece of that. You want it straight. I guess you could say it's battle worn and it's a little crooked. And you're going to make a bunch of these. I've already made some. I like to try my techniques out before I actually videotape them, because then that way I know they work instead of giving you some bogus stuff that's not going to work. So you got to wait for this tip to warm up. Now this is a lot of trial and error. And then once you have the 2.5 inch and you've got it all glued up, you just take a pair of scissors and you sharpen the nail head up a little bit. And it's totally up to you how you want to do it. Usually most nail heads have like 4 corners to them. I know it doesn't look like much, but once you put the Rust-Oleum Bright Coat metallic finish on there, they're going to look just like this, like nails. There's a bunch of different ways you could probably do this. One of the things I found is that I'm using the hot glue, high heat hot glue, high temperature. So what I do is I basically fill this in like a cannoli almost. Once it gets to that level, and then you just build it up over a period of time. I'm actually going to unplug it now, and you'll be amazed at how long this tip will stay warm. But if it's too warm, it just doesn't flow right. It just kind of oozes out like bad frosting. Let's see if we can kind of build this up. And if you have to do it 2 or 3 times, layer by layer, that's okay. The whole idea is to get a good little ball on top that you can cut down into a nail head. See how it's flowing a little crazy there? And sometimes you have to turn it upside down and then it's going to go crazy. You could actually hit this with some air to cool it off, maybe, if you had some. Ah, there we go. Can hit it with some dust air to cool it down. Boy, I'm having a heck of a time with this thing. That will help cool it down. That's pretty hard, and I'm gonna just hit it again and build it up just a little bit more. You can always cut it down, and hot glue is relatively cheap. Cut off opposite sides as a starting point. You need sharp scissors for this. That's not bad. Now to finish the rest of these. They're all done, and now it's time to paint them. I make a bunch of extras just in case I want to either expand the design or it's a beauty contest and a couple of them didn't turn out so well. Got to make sure you get all that extra glue off, otherwise it won't look like a nail. Then you just take an egg carton, take your scissors, and take your foam nail and stick it in there, and that way you can paint them all real close together. You don't waste a lot of paint that way. They almost look like birthday candles. You don't want to push it down too far because then you won't get the paint. Now it's time to go outside and paint it up. Of course, I had to pick a really windy day to do this. Want to get it all the way around. Fine thin coats. Actually flipped it around for the second coat. Doesn't take much. It's the next day. All these are really dry. This really works out well. So I'm just going to take these all out. Put that to the side. And lay them here. Now, even though I wasn't really wanted them to curve, they do have a tendency to curve, and you can bend them back a little bit, get them fairly straight. If you really wanted to, you could put a thin wire in here, but the whole idea is that this is a cosplay and that this bends. And putting a wire in there would just stiffen up a bit too much. So I got these hockey pucks for about $2. They had this logo on them, which I'm not a big fan of. Tried sanding it down, not working too much. So I just put some black electrical tape on there, and it should be fine. Barely see it. Now, I had a couple versions of thoughts, ideas. Originally, I had these things sticking way out, even further than that. And I showed them to some of my most trusted critics and colleagues, my hockey playing boys, and they said, "Dad, that's too far out. You're going to stab yourself. Not a good idea." So I'm actually going to shorten them up and make them about that long, which is about 1.5 inches. And so I'm going to have to cut some of these down. And then for this one, I'm going to have them sticking out on both ends because, again, my collaborators basically said, "Dad, you're not going to be able to hit that with a hockey stick." I said, "What if I put them in both ends and then you have the flat area to hit with the stick?" And they said, "Wow, that's great because it's up off the ground. You could just put it down and then fire it right into a zombie and take them out." So we're going to give that a shot and see how it turns out. What I did here is just mark it, poked a hole with a chopstick. Now you probably can just squeeze these things in here. Originally I had used a drill, a 1/4-inch drill, and that was too big. I think if we just poke a hole with a chopstick, they're staying in there pretty good. So just measure 2 inches, because 1/2 inch is going to go inside, and then just stick it in. And for the ones I've already drilled a hole, I'm just going to have to use some hot glue and put those in. But these other ones, like this one I just made, sticks in there really well with just a pressure fit. And you have to cut that off. Then just take a silver Sharpie marker and just kind of fix it up. And no one will know that you didn't paint it. Foam and glue gun's kind of a funny thing. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So I'm going to just fill that in here and then just put this buddy right in place there. Yeah, right around 1.5 inches. If you get a little streamer like that, don't worry about it. It pulls off right at your ease. You just don't want to put too much in there. Again, for this one, you want to fill it in kind of like filling a jelly donut. Kind of in there a little bit. Measure it off. That can go in a little bit more. This will also give a little weight to the hockey puck, which is not bad because these things weigh about 1 ounce and a standard hockey puck weighs much more than that. You want to try to get them as straight as possible. Although if you were urgently making a bunch of pucks, you may not care too much about how long they are. You don't want to fill it all the way to the outside, just about 1/4 inch out. And this is going to be the front or top because of the tape. Kind of happy how that turned out. Everything's solidifying in place. Here's another one I cut off. Just hit it with the silver metallic marker. Clean it up just a little bit. There you go. Hockey puck Ninja Star version. Alright, so let's figure out how many I have. I think I have 12 of these things. So there'll be 6 on the top and 6 on the bottom. I'll start on the bottom. Take my chopstick. And this is going to be kind of like a birthday cake. I'm going to put them in at an angle. So let's see how this does. Not bad. Sticks right in there. I'm going to go symmetric. You can really feel the foam in there now. Looks like we might need to use the drill a little bit. Just a tad. Put a little glue in there. That's a little too much. Pull some of it off. Ah, that stuff's hot. Try not to burn yourself. There you go. Let's do 6. This side we'll just do 2 more. So one here, one here, one here, and one here. And we'll hit it with a little bit of drill action. Be careful, you don't want to drill through your hand. And that just takes some of the extra foam out of there. You gotta be careful, because you can over drill. And it's coming in an angle anyway. But that pulls out a nice little plug that you can put your nail into. Do a fit check. On the bottom ones, you want them all kind of sitting at the same height, because that's going to be a base for your puck. Put a little glue in there. And just push that baby in there. And finagle it. Once you duel it out a little bit, you get a little room to maneuver. See if we can go in there without a glue gun. Yep. You want to make it kind of random. Black showing there, so be very careful because now it's in there. And just touch it up with the marker. Alrighty. So let's see how it looks. Yep. Planted. Not completely straight. See what I can do to adjust that. Push one down. Alright, that's pretty flat. Alright, now for the top. And I've got 6 for that. Now, because I know that they're running into the puck that way, I want to offset it on the top so they're not at the exact same place. The marker to give me a target and what to shoot for. And if the mark is wrong, don't worry too much about it, because you can just take a black marker and put it right on top of the silver marker and it'll be gone. Drill bit, and I think I'm going to go down a size to the 5/32. Be very careful. Just need to pop it a little bit, and then I'm going to take this little pair of pliers and pull out some of that foam to leave a space for the faux nail. And if for some reason the angle's not right on the one you got, just plug in another one, because every single one of these nails is just subtly different. Okay, so I think I'm going to use this and bore down in there like that. Then stick it in place. Pretty tight. It's like you're doing some flower arranging there. That one I can glue in place a little bit. This one I'm going to turn a little bit. Okay, now a couple things going on here. I can see that I have black showing, so I'm going to trim these all off a little bit. So that when I push it down, all you'll see was the silver. I had a similar problem with my babysitter build. So on this one, which is a similar approach to this, I actually used a Weller wood burning hobby iron kit and just kind of melted the foam a little bit, but you definitely want to do that outside because it stinks and you don't want to breathe that stuff in. You should check out this build. It was a lot of fun. And this is a battle-worn version. It's got Demogorgon blood on it. After trying several techniques, I think I'm convinced that using a thin pair of needle nose pliers and just going out and plucking the foam out seems to be the best solution. And then just slide it in there like that. And once you're happy with the angle and all that other stuff, then just glue gun it in place. There's the finished piece. Pretty happy with it. Pull off all these extra strands of glue. Looks pretty threatening. Looks like if you hit some zombie in a vital area, it would take him out or her out. And then the more traditional Kung Fu Star. A couple things about barbed wire, at least the fake stuff, what I use. You got to have enough wrap and it's got to be enough altered. Sometimes you'll get really close to having it in the same sequence. So I probably used twice as much barbed wire as I actually needed to do. I used the same barbed wire on my Negan bat. This is the battle version. It all originally looked like that. I did a survey with my resident experts whether I should use white tape or black tape. And it seemed like the black tape was the winner because that allows the barbed wire to pop. You can get old hockey sticks like this, believe it or not, at any ice rink. People throw them away. This one was kind of split in the middle. But that's the perfect hockey stick. That means that it's seen some battle. And you can use black tape and tape it up. You don't need to tack it down with hot glue. You could actually use one of your favorite sticks and just put this barbed wire on it and then just remove it. There, it's taped right there with black tape and taped right here. But since I'm going to have this, it's an older stick that's not being used anymore, I'm going to use it as a dedicated prop. Here's the barbed wire I used. It's 9 feet worth. It's kind of surprising if you think about it, that it would take 9 feet to wrap up the end of a hockey stick. But you want to make it dense. And you can see that these barbs are set off every 2 inches. Some of the barbs that I've used in the past, or tried to use in the past, are twice that distance. This makes for a really good start. And then here's the blank hockey stick. I'm going to take some tape, this bigger piece here is what I had, and then just kind of tape it over right on the edge of the barb there, like this. Now I'm going to wrap it at an angle a little bit because I'm going to come back in the opposite direction a little bit more. You can see where the barbs don't show up but every so often, even though it's only a couple inches, because the blade of the hockey stick is only a couple inches. And I'm going to come up to about here, right about there, and then I'm just going to go in the opposite direction, and this time I'm going to go on a little bit of a diagonal just to make it lots of barbed action. Then if you don't like the way it is, because I think it's a little too concentrated over here, just undo it and make the adjustment. So maybe I want to come over here a little bit and then just go a little more of an angle like that, so that it goes all the way down. Totally personal preference. And then you want to bury this one. So take that over to the other side. Take another piece of black tape and tape that off so you can't really see where it begins and where it ends. Alright, here it looks a little like Negan's bat. I think I want a little more alternating like this, so I'm going to take it off and do it again. After a lot of back and forth, kind of figured out how to best do this. I taped it at the beginning here at one end, and then I ran one all the way down here around, and then I just started wrapping it this way and then crossed it over so that it could get random back and forth. And then you have to figure out which side do you prefer the best look, this side or this side. So I chose this side because that's usually the side you favor to hit the puck with, and I came down about here on the blade. Kind of happy with this. Now I'm going to just dress up all of these barbs and make them look a little meaner. I don't think I'm going to bloody this one up like I have the other projects. We're just going to kind of leave it clean. And there's the end right there that I glued. I used the end of a cheap paintbrush to pop all the little fringes out or this little hook thing, and that really makes it pop. So I would strongly encourage you to do so. It's the difference between a standard cosplay and one that looks a little bit more realistic. See if we can get that one on the other side. There, it sticks it up. So there you go. Killer hockey puck, Kung Fu Star hockey puck, and a hockey stick that's waiting for a zombie. Thumbs up and comments, always appreciated. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more cosplay and hockey Halloween builds, all coming soon.